We are finally here. Avengers Infinity War is directed by the Russo brothers once again, and this film stars everyone. Everyone's in this film. That's it. Once again, you are safe with me. I do not share any spoilers. Am I late for this review? Of course. But at the same time, I don't want to give anything away because there are people who still have not seen this film. So you're safe with me. Just sit back, relax, and let's just talk about the film. So the powerful Thanos has arrived, and he is on a quest. He is on a mission to find all of these Infinity Stones. He's a very bad man. Remember that. This is what it's led up to. 10 years. For the past 10 years, the best thing Marvel has actually done is treating their audience with a great time with their films. Most of the times, they've done that. And I think Marvel can add this film to the list because Infinity War is a great time with the audience. It's easily one of the best films of this year, hands down, and I had a spectacular time with this film. I want to see it again. I have to see it again, but it was such a good time. I loved it. This is more than just a fun time at the theatre. Even if you're not a Marvel fan, there is something in this film for everyone, and they did that exceptionally. As for the Marvel fans, you're going to go crazy. You're going to go nuts when you watch this film. You probably have already seen it, and you went nuts, didn't you? You did, right? You did. Because a lot of things happen in this film. A lot of things happen in this film, and you really have to take it all in. And that's why it makes sense to watch it more than once. But let's talk about arguably the main character in this film, which is the villain, which is Thanos. Easily the best Marvel character, easily the best Marvel villain of all time so far in these last 10 years. He easily just outshines every single person, every single character for the past 10 years, not just this film. He is brilliant. Josh Brolin steals the entire show with this character. He is so good, and it's just fantastic. He's fantastic in this film. There are a few scenes where the CGI comes in place and it's not done to the best way, but it looks a little, clunky, but it's very, very impressive. The fact that they've really made this villain, every time he arrives, it feels as if no one is safe, basically. And I love that danger. I love that danger that a character, that a villain brings to the film, where it's just all hope is dead, basically. Everything is just, you're basically screwed. But the backstory for this character is told so well. Most of the emotional weight of this film is riding on Thanos. The characters and their development is very important to a guy like me. Why do I go to films? Why do I go to see Marvel films? Why am I a Marvel fan? Because of the characters. Arguably, that is pretty much my most important thing when it comes to watching any type of film. It's the character development, it's the drive, it's the motivation. And every single thing, every single choice that Thanos made in this film, I understand it, and I was behind it, and I understood the motivation that he had inside him. And that is just, you can't ask for more in a character like that. So easily the best villain since the Joker of The Dark Knight. It's that good. He's that good. And that's the thing that was very different about this film. At most part, it's very dark. It's a very dark film. All superheroes seem hopeless in this film. They are all trying to figure out one thing. What the hell to do? How can you stop this guy? How can you stop this monster? He is unstoppable. He is unbeatable. But how can I do that? And it's just such a dark tone most of the time, where it's just like trying to figure out what to do. But at the same time, what Marvel usually do in their films is bring the comedy and the humor, and they did that very well in this film. I laughed so hard in this film. This film is a gritty, dark film. It is. As compared to the last Marvel films, this is much darker. But it has that light tone. It has that light comedic aspect to it, which you can just have a good time and just laugh so much. They really do know how to just put in some funny lines and dialogues in it, and it still works despite being a dark film. It's so nice and wonderful to see all these characters interact with each other, meet each other, and it's just such a refreshing type of feeling when you're watching it. It really is great. We have new chemistry in the film that really, really work, some that perhaps don't work as much as the others. But this film is completely action-packed. This film is completely action-packed. They really do go forward with the action scenes in this film. They really don't stop. They really do not hold back. Every single scene, it always leads to something action, and you're just really at the edge of your seat, and you're never bored. I was never bored when watching this film. In terms of shaky cam, in The Winter Soldier, the Russo brothers really did present a lot of close-ups a lot of times. They couldn't particularly see what was happening. In Civil War, it's slightly improved. You can see more stuff in the background. In Infinity War, the shaky cam is almost completely gone. It's all smooth, it's all broad, it's much more larger. I hardly saw a shaky cam. The Russo brothers really do excel in this film. For the past 10 years, Marvel have non-stop been trying to set up and build up the next film, and the film after that, and the film after that. In this film, it's nice to know that it's all been leading up to this. This was the reason as to why they did so much build-up and so much of these franchises, universes. But now that we are here, you can just sit back, relax, and just enjoy what's in front of you. And I love that feeling. I love that realization that I had before watching this film. So that was fantastic. So make sure you have that feeling when you go watch this film. But is this film perfect? No, it's not perfect. But in my opinion, having said that, I personally believe that the Russo brothers have done enough for me. They have excelled my expectations. They really have. They've exceeded my expectations, and my expectations for this film were very, very high, and they just blew me away in this film. But think about it. I find it very difficult to actually create a small little film just for myself. I find it difficult, but if you put yourself in the shoes of the Russo brothers, and what they had to do is have all these characters, pretty much all of them from the Marvel universe, into one film in 2.5 hours, and for it to be this good, that was almost impossible. To have all these characters utilized in the way that they were, I have to give major props to the Russo brothers. It's amazing to witness a film like this. If you think back and you actually think about it, did you really expect a film like this to be made? Because I loved Spider-Man as a kid. I grew up with Spider-Man as a kid, and it's just amazing that we've gone so far now to make a film like that. I mean, that's just crazy. But let's talk about the issues. The film at sometimes can seem rather uneven. There's too many characters, which means that they may not be very smooth when it comes to the transitioning to another scene with the other characters, and then the other, and then the other, and then the other. But in terms of the tone and the character choices, it's very hard to critique this, because if you think about it, all of these characters have had their own films. Guardians, Iron Man, Spider-Man, so many of them. Everyone's had their own films. And for each film, there have been different writers. There's only been 2 writers for this film to handle all these characters. Obviously, there's going to be some parts and some dialogues which don't really completely fit with that character. I'm not going to say who, but you know what I'm talking about. But a film like this, you can't help but give it a pass, because the past films have led up to this very one. And this was how it was supposed to be. All these characters in one film. Obviously, there were a lot of opinions in how they were all handled. Regardless of who you are, there is an element in this film that everyone can enjoy, everyone can appreciate, and you will have an amazing time in the theaters watching this film. Do not miss out, because I really had this feeling. I had this feeling where before I was watching it, I was not ready. I felt so lucky to have a ticket in my hand. Hold on, do I have a ticket here? You know, it's crazy that before watching the previews, I had this ticket in my hand, and I was just thinking, wow, I'm actually watching Avengers Infinity War. It's all leading up to this. I just felt so lucky to watch that, because I was not ready for this. No one was. Admit it. Were you ready to actually watch a film like this? It's crazy. But I'm going to give Avengers Infinity War a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely check it out. Easily one of the best films of this year. I still need to review the Phase 3 of Marvel Universe. I have done Phase 1 and 2, if you can check that out in the link in the description or in my previous videos. I also have a Stardust account as well, where you can follow me and you can see most of my reactions to films and trailers, which I choose to post. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys very soon with some more reactions and reviews for some other films too, and have a nice day.